A stupid joke in our friend group went too far. Now my husband doesn't want to see me anymore. Have you ever been in a situation where a harmless joke within your friend group spiraled out of control? Well, that's what happened to me, and now my husband doesn't want to see me anymore. It all started with a silly prank that we thought would bring some laughter and fun, but as the joke escalated, it crossed a line that we never intended to cross. Some things are better left as they are because you actually don't know the outcome of them. It's so sad that I chose to do a childish and careless act just to make my husband jealous. You know the phrase that says, "Let bygones be bygones"? I should have used it. My husband, who was not part of the prank, felt deeply hurt and betrayed by my involvement. Despite my apologies and attempts to make things right, he refuses to even talk to me. It's a painful reminder of how a thoughtless action can have serious consequences on our relationships. I never imagined that a simple joke could lead to such a rift between us. Now I'm left grappling with the aftermath and trying to repair the damage that has been done. I had never thought that one day I would find myself being one of my alpha husband's brutal revenge. You know, when you are too carefree, you end up doing things that would ruin your life and the second party's life. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was just having fun, but I guess the fun had me instead. A very small mistake took me back to the hellhole I thought I had left. I regret the day I made that mistake. I thought my husband was not going to find out. We were playing a game, just having fun with a couple of friends at a party, not knowing that what I had thought was a game was actually cheating. The worst part was the fact that I had to realize it the hard way. I was fooled by my friends and did things that I had thought were harmless and fun, only for it to ruin my life. I know someone who once had the same experience or had gone through the same situation that I was facing. How did you pick up the broken pieces and fix things regarding this situation? I know that my husband is a very sensitive person and he doesn't like stupid jokes, but still I went ahead with it. I really thought we were all just having fun, only for him to take the joke personally and react in a cruel way. I really regret even starting with the prank game because now it has put me in a very tough situation and it took away the love of my life. Till today, I still don't know how to make John understand that it wasn't my intention to hurt his feelings and try to fix things between us. So I was married to John Johnson, male, 33. I, female, 33, first met him at the Cheesecake Factory in Dubai. I had gone there because I was craving some cheesecake. The Cheesecake Factory is my favorite spot, but that day, I don't know what had happened to the bakers because I got a very unpleasant cheesecake and it was a bummer for me. So I asked to speak to the manager because the cake tasted like it was made 5 days ago. As I was busy arguing with the employee, John came and offered to help me. I told John my complaint, and he kindly took my complaint seriously and told the employees to fix the issue. I don't know if I would say that it was my lucky day at that time, but everything was just going smoothly because they even gave me a free cheesecake. John asked for my number so that he would make it up to me for the inconvenience caused. I told him that he didn't have to, but the guy insisted, so I gave him my number. 3 days later, he gave me a call and asked for us to meet at some restaurant in Dubai Heights. I wasn't sure if I should agree or reject the request, but I ended up agreeing anyway. So we met and we actually clicked, our souls clicked and we talked like we were getting to know each other. He then said that he is actually the owner of the Cheesecake Factory. I really liked the way he was humble and handled my matter as a priority when I had an issue with the employee and cheesecake. We started getting along, communicating more via social media, especially on WhatsApp. He was a very good advisor. He was very smart, charming, and all that. I really liked the guy. The first time we had spent time together, was it too early for me to catch feelings for the guy? Is there a time frame that was put to fall for a person? I didn't know how I would confess my feelings for the guy, so I decided to just go with the friendship flow, even though it wasn't really easy having to always chat with this person and sometimes going out with him while knowing that you have deep love feelings for the man. Our friendship got stronger each day. As much as I had a huge crush on him, but I had closed my crush to a small cage. At least we were friends and we were spending more time together. I was not used to Dubai, so he would take me to different places to visit different ice cream shops. There was this weekend when he came to my aunt's house and asked me to accompany him somewhere. I didn't ask much, so I went with him, only to find out that we were going to JBR Beach Residence, which was 35 minutes drive away from Bur Dubai Heights. We were friends for like 6 months until I couldn't hold myself any longer, so I confessed my feelings to John. And to my surprise, he was actually surprised by the bomb that I had just dropped. I won't lie and say I wasn't nervous when I was confessing my undying love to John, because I was scared. We went quiet for a few moments. Then when my mind and heart had given up on thinking that maybe he would accept my proposal. But little did I know that the guy was actually digesting what I had told him. So he actually kissed me, and I just froze like I couldn't believe it. You know? So that's when our relationship started. I was not regretting ever confessing my love for John. I mean, he was a very good partner to me. I couldn't ask for any other partner except for him. Yes, we had our fair share of ups and downs, but we had managed to break through everything. John was a God-fearing man and I wasn't, but we respected each other's beliefs and religions. We supported each other, and we decided that we wanted to actually grow old together through thick and thin, even through darkness and light. I love John with every being in me, and I still love him even now, which is surprising after the damage that he had caused in my life. After a year of getting to know each other, he decided that he wanted to grow old with me, so he proposed in front of our families and friends. I was just the happiest woman alive and everything was just going smoothly. John did everything for me. We got married 3 months after he had proposed. He made me an honest woman, even though our marriage didn't last for long. Memories of my relationship with John will always remain constant. We had our share of bad and good times. We really loved each other, that's what I know for sure. The following year he proposed to me, and obviously I said yes. I mean, I saw the love of my life in him, even though he was a bit insecure. Maybe not a bit, but I loved him so much. I didn't see myself with anyone else other than him. He was my ride or die, my joy and happiness. I fell hard for him every day, not knowing that my small stupid mistakes would cost me everything, including my love. Was it being naive or being forward? We got married after 6 months. Well, we didn't want to rush things, so we took our own sweet time to plan for our perfect wedding. I had moved out of my aunt's house after he proposed. We were living happily ever after, you know? When you feel that she is the one and you don't want anything to get in between you, which was how I felt. He was everything and more, not knowing that he would become my downfall someday. A year later, I fell pregnant. Our lives were great. I was so happy that I was going to be a mom. Not just being a mom, but the fact that I was going to have a child with the person I love so much. 9 months later, I gave birth to a very adorable baby girl. She looked so much like my husband, and I loved her so much. She was and still is the best gift God has given me. A year later, I had asked my aunt to come over to my marital home with her husband, because I had planned a surprise retirement and welcome back party for him, since he was no longer going to be working overseas but coming back home. I wanted to appreciate him while he was still alive. That man had done so much for me. He was the best father I had ever had. Both Uncle John and my aunt deserved to get their roses while still alive. During that year, John had started acting really strange. He was no longer spending time with me, but he would take our daughter only and saying it was a daughter and daddy bonding session. That was actually a very lame excuse because even at home, things were no longer fun. It was like we were forcing things. Even though our conversations were no longer fun and full of happiness, I had thought he was cheating. Because one day I had confronted him about his sudden behavior and he looked at me like I had grown horns or I was crazy. So I decided to check his gadgets. Maybe he was using them, but I found nothing. I knew and felt that he was hiding something from me, but I couldn't get myself to think that whatever he was hiding was actually about me. One summer evening I was preparing for my uncle's retirement and welcome home party. I had told John that I would be hosting a party for my uncle, so I needed him to be there to help me. That day, he had promised me that he would be home early, but he didn't keep his promise. I mean, why was I surprised? Because he had been absent for a few days. He would go to work very early in the morning and come back late, when our daughter would have even gone to sleep. When I asked him about it, he would say he was caught up at work. I couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that told me that something was off. I kept wondering why John was so distant and absent lately. Yes, I found out that he was not cheating, but there was something that had made him too busy for his wife, because even our intimate moments were no longer the same. It was like he was doing it to satisfy himself more than the both of us. I wanted to find out what his problem was, but I just didn't know where to start. I had thought I knew John, but his behavior showed me that I didn't know him at all. So as the guests were arriving for my uncle's party, my uncle and his wife came, but I noticed that my uncle was a bit off as he tried pretending to be happy. I asked him on the side to speak with him, so I asked him what was going on. I had thought he was sick or something, but that was not the case. He had recently opened his coffee shop with the money he had gotten when it was his last day overseas. About a month later, John came back from work and gave me an invitation to his friend's wedding, so he wanted me to be his plus one. I had known their friends and their partners for a while, but we were not close at that time because I was still a newbie in John's life. I accepted the invitation, and I knew that I had to find a stunning dress to match with my husband. The big day came, and I looked really fabulous in my dress. I was introduced to some of the groups that I haven't met, and I don't want to lie, they have a vibe with great energy. Time went on, and John decided to celebrate his birthday by hosting his friends for a birthday braai. I didn't have a problem with that. I knew that it would give me a chance to get to know his other friends and their partners, so I was looking forward to it. John had been a sweetheart at that time, and he was less going to meetings with his business associates in some hotel. As much as I had wanted to spend time with John on his birthday, but the braai idea was not a bad one. His birthday came, the friends came, and we were having so much fun. Conversations were flowing. We stayed together until very late, but we were enjoying everyone's company. The girls came with the idea of pranking our partners or playing the dare game, whereby you will have to share your deepest secret or tell us what is happening in your life and how intimate your moments are with your partner. I wasn't sure about those ideas, but they sounded fun, so I agreed to participate also, not knowing that it would actually put me in hot waters, even though we didn't play it during John's birthday braai. 2 weeks later, a married couple who are John's friends invited us to their 10th year anniversary. I was so happy for them, you know? I had wished that I would also get to 10 years of marriage with John, but I didn't know that it would actually end on a 3rd year of marriage. We honored the invite and made sure to look the part and match the theme. Frank, male 36, and Christina, female 34, the married couple, were what we call a match made in heaven. Their love was so precious and pure. I just loved how they loved each other and did everything together. It all began innocently enough, as these things often do. Our friend group had always been known for our playful banter and light-hearted pranks, but little did I know that one careless joke would unravel everything I held dear. It was a typical Friday evening, and we were gathered at our usual spot, Frank's backyard, sipping beers and swapping stories. As the laughter flowed freely, someone brought up the topic of superstitions. That's when it happened, the catalyst for the chaos that followed. In a moment of sheer spontaneity, I blurted out a ridiculous idea. Wouldn't it be hilarious if we staged a fake breakup between me and John, just to mess with everyone? I chuckled, thinking it would be nothing more than a fleeting moment of amusement. But the idea caught fire among our group. Before I knew it, we were all huddled together, brainstorming ways to make the fake breakup seem authentic. We planned every detail meticulously, from dramatic social media posts to tearful phone calls to friends. After the whole thing, Christina reminded us of the games that we had planned to play when we were at my house during John's braai. The first dare came to me, and I was dared to tell John a serious joke stating where he is lacking. I knew that that was a tough one, but I had to play it, you know? In my mind, I was just telling myself that it's just a game and nothing was going to happen, so I should participate. I blurted out that I was no longer enjoying our intimate moments because he is always tired and sometimes busy, so I was thinking of seeking intimacy outside our marriage. The following week, we put our plan into action. I pretended to be distraught, posting cryptic messages on social media about heartbreak and betrayal. John played along, offering comfort to our concerned friends and family members because they didn't know about the game. The game was full of fun, but little did I know that playing it was like playing with my marriage, because it didn't end very well. And I regret ever accepting the challenge. At first, it was all in good fun. Our friends fell for the ruse hook, line, and sinker, offering sympathy and support. But as the days passed, I began to realize the gravity of what we had done. John grew distant, his once warm and affectionate demeanor replaced by a cold detachment. He avoided me, barely speaking more than a few words at a time. I tried to brush it off as part of the act, but deep down, I knew something had changed between us. Finally, one evening, John sat me down for a serious conversation. His eyes were filled with hurt and disappointment as he confessed that he couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. He couldn't understand how I could joke about something as sacred as our relationship. I didn't understand why he was so worked up because the game instructions were clear. It was just a game, meaning we were just joking, but he took it to heart. We had a heated argument about what I had said at Christina's house. It even affected our daughter. Luna? The kids sensed tension. So my daughter also sensed the tension. And it wasn't nice. John was really at me, even if I tried to apologize. He wouldn't care about what I was saying. He only cared about his daughter. And that was hurting deeply. I even decided to be a stay-home mom, just because I was respecting him, since he wanted me to be a housewife. But we had spoken about that and came to an agreement that I would do only remote jobs. And he decided to do such an evil act on me. What did I do wrong to him? The way I was shattered and disappointed led to not being a fully present mother to our daughter. John was like my housemate because we were no longer sleeping in one bedroom, and we were like strangers. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. So one of those days, John came back very early from work, and he didn't look too well. I tried asking him what was going on, but he didn't tell me. Instead, he looked at me like I was the most disgusting thing he had ever laid his eyes on. I got really confused, because I had thought that we had forgiven each other for the game that happened at Christina's house, not knowing that the bastard actually found out that I had kissed a guy because of a game. So I asked him again, getting worried because he was not even happy to see our daughter. So I was wondering what may be the problem. Instead of answering, he just threw his phone at me. Then he started shouting, which is what I did despite him. He shouts like he's reprimanding a child. And that usually takes us to an argument. I looked at the phone that he had thrown at me, and I got the shock of my life. I couldn't even argue with him or deny because the picture and video was right before my eyes. I didn't know what to say nor do, you know? I tried apologizing to him, but he wasn't having it. He wanted me gone. He told me right in my face that he doesn't want to see me anymore, saying that I had made him a fool for far too long. So I spent the whole week in the hospital because of the state that my mind was in. I had been getting sick every now and then, only to find out that I had lost my unborn child that I didn't even know about. My mind and heart was shattered. A day before I got discharged from the hospital, my husband's lawyer came to see him. He left another envelope that I didn't even bother opening, but I took it home with me the next day. So when I had settled well at home, I remembered the envelope and opened it. The things the envelope contained left me in awe. My heart stopped for a moment. In the envelope, there were pictures of me and my male friend kissing each other. It looked like we were dating. I couldn't believe how my husband had got the pictures. I didn't understand why he would send his lawyer to deliver the pictures to me, and I saw nothing wrong in what I did. In my world or mind, kissing was not and should not be considered as cheating. I mean, no feelings were attached. It was fun, nothing else. So after the pictures were delivered, the lawyer called me again, saying the divorce process had to come to a final decision, and requested to see me along with my husband on a certain date. I honored his request and went to meet up with him and my husband. The only thing that made me agree to the meeting was because I had a lot of questions to ask my husband. One fateful day, the day of the meeting came, and my husband was really divorcing me. And his reasons for the divorce were that he had lost trust in me, and I had not been faithful to our marriage. The fact that I had found solace in another man's arms and left him in our house to take care of our daughter. I thought he understood that I was going through grief, and I was not myself. I tried defending myself in the picture case, and the lawyer told me exchanging saliva or kissing another person outside my marriage is considered cheating, even if I had thought it was an innocent friendship kiss. But the fact that I had spent time and kissed another person in the name of friendship is cheating. I begged him to forgive me. I cried and acted like a lunatic, but he was just not budging. I didn't know that and never thought of it as cheating, because me and the guy were only friends. I didn't take him as another thing and never thought of him that way. I love my husband so much, but I guess the only thing I never did was respect my wedding vows and my husband. I didn't know, okay? One moment I was happy. The next, I was devastated by an argument that we had about the joke and found comfort in alcohol. That alcohol led me to do something that I had thought I was doing just for fun. I guess nothing stays in the dark. I felt so ashamed, you know? Doing things in the name of fun sometimes leads us to our downfall. So I ended up signing the papers, meaning I was actually letting go of my husband, our love, our vows, and our family. I asked the lawyer what I was benefiting from the divorce, and he told me that I would be getting nothing rather than the house I was living in. So I asked my husband to unfreeze my accounts, and he told me that my accounts were fine. It was just that they didn't have any money. I knew he was crazy, but I had never thought it was to that extent. How could he do something so evil to the mother of his child? As I had thought that that was all, he then dropped a very large and a killer bombshell to me, saying that he was taking full custody of our daughter and that I was not fit enough to be a mother, so he was taking full responsibility to our daughter. Few weeks later, he filed for full custody of our daughter, stating that I was not fit to be a mother. On top of that, he blocked all my bank cards. I didn't know about that until I tried swapping the card in the petrol station. So I called my advisor, and I was actually told that my cards were blocked. When I got home, I found out that he had actually taken my clothes and threw them outside. The doors were locked and changed, meaning I no longer had access to the house anymore. Mind you, that time I didn't have gas in my car, so I didn't know how I was going to get home from Dam Hill. My ex-husband was evil and psychopathic. The signs were there, but I didn't pay any attention to them. I was so much in love and thought I had found my soulmate, but I found my worst nightmare and downfall. I couldn't believe that he did all that just because of a lousy kiss. It wasn't like I was dating the guy, but he destroyed my life all in the name of revenge for a kiss. Few months later, I had to try and fix my life bit by bit. John did a number on me, so it wasn't easy having to start afresh. Fortunately, I found a job as a waitress in one of the restaurants nearby. It was not easy, but I had to try and pick up life and better myself. I had no one but myself, so it was time to focus on me and do me. And the good thing was that John's parents had allowed me to see my daughter and spend time with her. I prayed every day for karma to visit John one day. Fortunately, it did. All his operations came out, and he was arrested. I vowed to myself to never fall in love again or have a crush on someone. I have learned my lesson. Do you think I handled the whole situation better, or I was a coward and naive to allow John to destroy my life like that? Please advise me. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized the extent of the damage our stupid joke had caused. I begged for forgiveness, but John's heart was broken, and he couldn't bring himself to trust me again. Our friend group's harmless prank had cost me the love of my life. As I sit alone now, surrounded by the echoes of laughter that once filled our home, I can't help but wonder, was the joke really worth it? You know when a person says they were drowning in deep, muddy waters? I was that person. I was drowning in muddy water, and I couldn't swim. I resorted to finding closure in alcohol. I became what my mother was when she was divorced by my father. At that time, I understood why my mother was an alcoholic. My life was down and out. I had lost the only person who showered me with love and care and gave me a very beautiful daughter. Now I had lost that daughter plus something that was so dear in my heart: my company. I was really depressed and wished to just go far away where there were no troubles and sorrows. 6 months later, my mother told me to stop having a pity party because it will not bring back the things that I had lost, including my daughter. But instead, it would take me straight to the morgue. And when that happens, I would not be able to fight nor see my daughter ever again. Those words made me think again about life. So I took the money that I had saved from my company and the one I had got when I got divorced and used it to fix myself. I went to the rehabilitation center for 6 months while attending AA meetings when I was inside. By the time I came out, I was a whole new person. I had discovered what my worth was and what I wanted. I started by asking for at least a joint custody of my daughter, which I got by the grace of God. I went through a very tough depression phase for almost a year, and I had thought I was going to lose my life in the process. Everything was too much for me to handle. But there was one thing I was proud of that I had done, and that was saving myself from the greedy and selfish bastard. I was glad that my mother came through for me when John threw out my clothes. My mother found me a therapist that did house calls, and I was grateful for that, because I didn't want to face the world, you know? I was somehow scared that John would see me or tamper with my car tires this time. It showed that he was just obsessed with destroying my life. I couldn't leave my daughter alone. The therapy sessions went on for months because sometimes I would not want to open up, but I eventually got help and decided to stand up for myself. John was sentenced to 25 years in prison for scamming a businessman in Chicago, and other charges came up when the police continued with the investigation. I was so relieved that he was finally away from me and my family, and I had vowed to never ever think I know better. I vowed to listen to my mother whenever she gives me warnings. After John got sentenced, I became free again. I became myself and decided to take my acting career seriously while I continued being a waitress on the side. After that, I never went back to my matrimonial house. I continued staying with my mother, and our lives were in so much peace and happiness. I realized that I didn't know what peace and happiness was when I was with John because I was blinded by the love I had for him, but now I can proudly say I am free and at peace. I'm the person who made rules for myself and never allowed anyone or anything to change that. I lived my life for me without looking for validation from others. But when I fell in love with John, all of that changed. I lost myself. I became his puppet, his submissive wife. I followed his rules and did everything the way he wanted to, all because of love and being committed to the relationship, even though it was very much toxic. But I stayed and held on to the hot steel even when it had started to burn my skin. It's not easy being in a relationship whereby you have to compromise yourself just because you want to make your partner happy. It has never worked like that. I know that some would be surprised if I were to say that I still love my ex-husband and I miss him so much every day. My heart wanted me to fight for our relationship and find a common solution to the problem. But why try to help a person who doesn't need help? It was like he was somehow possessed by a controlling demon. So when it was an active mode of controlling him, he would want to be in control also. John was like a person who had multiple personality disorder, even though I can't and couldn't confirm it. But the way he was doing things, his manipulative and controlling tendencies seemed like he was pushed by something or someone to do it, to satisfy it. One thing I regret about myself was that I didn't or never gave myself enough time to learn more about John. I mean, it didn't take us too long to get married, from being friends to being boyfriend and girlfriend to being husband and wife. All of those stages happened within 1 year, if I am not mistaken. Everything happened too fast, and I was blindly in love to notice anything on our dating stage. Please tell me if the decisions I had taken and made were good moves. I mean, half of my heart still loves the guy, but the other hates him with passion. My daughter sometimes wants to visit him in jail, but I do not allow them because I do not want anything to do with John. What should I do? Please help me here, because I am lost and I don't know what to do. I want to hear from you, Redditors. What should I have done? Yes, I had hopes that he would eventually change and become the man I had fallen in love with. I thought he would eventually realize that he was the one with the problem and try to change it with me on his side, supporting him as his wife. I had spoken with him a lot about his behavior and begged him to at least talk to a therapist so he would be able to take out whatever that he had and get help. Instead, he would just brush everything off and dismiss my opinion like it was nothing. Though according to my own knowledge and perspective, I don't know what I was doing. I would say it was being ungrateful and not being able to be patient with my husband. I wish things were done differently. Yes, it's too late, but I regret every stupid decision that I had made. Now I have lost everything, and there is really no one to blame but myself. I don't know how I can fix all of this and get forgiveness for myself. I know everything showed that I did everything willingly, even though I couldn't remember the following, but only God knows the truth. I didn't know that just one joke would actually land me where I am now. Am I being a fool or naive if I say I miss John so much, and our daughter misses him too? I'd been thinking of visiting him in prison, but I don't know what I would say to him when I get there. Yes, I want him to be punished for being fake and scamming me along with other people that he had scammed, but my heart still longs for him. I can't even talk to my mother about this, because I know that she will freak out when she hears about my heart's desire. So please help me find a way to approach both families about this issue. What do you say I should do? Please help me.